Hello all, it is my pleasure to share with you my research proposal on the role of educational leaders in creating inclusive environments in schools. My name is Charlene Lee, and I am a school psychologist at Sunnyvale School District. I am also a first-year doctoral student in the EDD and Educational Leadership program at San Jose State University. In the United States, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA, mandates that students with disabilities are educated in a regular classroom to the maximum extent. However, there continues to be many students with disabilities placed in separate settings outside their general education classes, particularly in California compared to the rest of the country. Studies have found that students with disabilities have remained a marginalized group for decades, as many of them are not able to access the same opportunities as their general education peers and participate in grade-level curriculum and related activities that enrich their academic achievement and social development. This brings up the question of why inclusion is not implemented in more schools and districts in today's society. We all know that administrators are key educational leaders who have the capacity to make decisions that impact the academic and social-emotional outcomes of students. One barrier to inclusion that studies have found is the lack of administrative support and inclusive practices. In this study, I hope to address the following questions. First, what are school and district administrators' attitudes towards inclusion of students with disabilities? Next, how do school and district administrators perceive their roles in implementing inclusion at their school and district? As mentioned previously, the administrators' attitudes towards inclusion is critical to the successful implementation of inclusive programs in schools. Salisbury found that when administrators had less than positive attitudes towards inclusion, teachers were provided with less support in inclusive classrooms. A barrier to inclusion that Smith found is the lack of preparation programs in providing aspiring administrators a better understanding of special education and related laws. This also includes having a clear understanding of collaboration time and the kinds of supports needed to successfully implement inclusive schools. Teacher attitudes towards inclusion also play a significant role in school inclusion. Negative attitudes towards inclusion were found to come from a lack of experience working with students with disabilities. Smith noted that general education teachers and special education teachers are trained separately, using separate curriculum and criteria. By providing discussions and reflections of inclusion and co-teaching, teachers will develop positive attitudes and strategies used for inclusive practices. Another barrier to the implementation of inclusion is the lack of time for collaboration and planning, as well as resources to implement inclusive practices. As leaders for school change, principals and district administrators need to provide staff with the necessary training, experience, and time for collaboration and planning to make inclusion successful. Administrators' attitudes towards inclusion also impact the level of support that teachers receive in order to implement inclusive practices. Teachers and support staff rely on their school leaders' vision and attitude towards inclusion, which are reflected on the resources and time that teachers are given to collaborate, plan for, and implement inclusive practices. Participants of the study will be school and district administrators of public K-12 schools located in a county south of the San Francisco Bay Area in California. The student population within the county come from culturally diverse and various socioeconomic backgrounds. Site-specific and district administrators include school principals, special education administrators, such as the Director of Special Education, and district administrators, such as the Assistant Superintendent and Superintendent. The participant selection is based on their capacity to communicate their vision to staff and families, and their ability to make school-wide and district-wide programmatic decisions. My positionality is that I am a school psychologist working in one of the districts and school sites involved in the study. My familiarity with working in public school districts, particularly in the special education field, may allow administrators to feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts with me. In addition, my position as a doctoral student pursuing an EDD may also impact the responses and behaviors of administrators without such degree, in terms of how they might want to be perceived by others in the educational field. I hope to gather valid information from my participants by ensuring that participants will remain anonymous so they feel comfortable and safe in sharing their beliefs and opinions, and that they know that their contributions to the study do not negatively impact their reputation or professional work. This study implements a mixed methods research design that utilizes quantitative and qualitative data from an online survey and qualitative information collected from in-person interviews and a focus group to enrich and support the data. Creswell found that utilization of both forms of data provide a more comprehensive analysis of the research problem. The time frame of this research study is approximately 1 year to reflect the school calendar year. In the first phase of the study, the researcher will gather contact information of administrators within the county. After the survey is piloted and finalized, it will be emailed to participants to complete. This first phase is expected to take approximately 3 months. The second phase involves completing the interviews and focus groups, transcription and coding of the responses, and analysis of the interview data. The second phase will likely take 5 months to complete. The last 3 months will be allocated to the integration of the available data, conclusions of the study, as well as implications of research findings. The online survey provides information on the current administrator's role, experiences with students in special education, and their attitudes and beliefs towards school inclusion. The semi-structured interview will be conducted with a selected number of administrators who represent various school levels. In addition to the interviews, the selected individuals will also participate in a focus group discussion to gather additional qualitative data focusing on themes across districts within the county on administrators' viewpoints of inclusion and perspectives of the challenges in implementing school inclusion. The interviews and focus group discussion will be recorded and transcribed for coding purposes and data analysis. The transcription of the interviews will be analyzed through a coding process that the researcher developed based on the literature on inclusion and recurring themes from the interviews of this study. Conclusions from the study may reveal current challenges to implementing inclusion from the administrator's point of view, as well as differentiated impact of leadership on schools and districts, depending on the administrator's attitudes and perceptions of their roles. Administrators may also discover how to best approach school or district reform to impact the school community, such as formal training on inclusive practices and special education, coaching from a consultant, and collaboration and problem solving with other districts. There are several limitations of the study. First, the attitudes and beliefs of the participants selected for the study might not be representative of administrators across the United States. They have also chosen to participate on a voluntary basis, so participants are likely to participate in the study if they have more positive experiences with inclusion than those with fewer positive experiences. This may limit the generalizability of the research findings. In addition, my position as a school psychologist in the local area may result in different interpretations and analysis than another researcher with a different work experience and background, even though the data being analyzed are the same. Lastly, the study utilizes data primarily from administrators' self-reports. Future studies may want to include input from teachers, students, and families, observations at the school and district level, and review of textual sources, such as letters to the school and community on inclusive practices. That way, there are a variety of data coming from different sources, leading to the same conclusion. I'd like to thank you for your time and interest in this research proposal. If you have any questions regarding this study, please feel free to email me.